What if choosing a new reality isn't about becoming someone you are not, but about repeatedly returning to what you have already recognized as true? In this excerpt from The Art of Joyous Expansion, we explore what happens when a chosen identity gradually stops feeling like something you are practicing and starts feeling like home. Returning to what you have already chosen. At this stage of the process, you are no longer searching for who you are. You have already recognized the version of yourself that feels true, not as an external goal, but as an expansion of who you already are. The work now is no longer about discovering that identity. It is about living from it. Embodiment is often misunderstood as effort, as something that requires constant doing or continuous self-improvement. What we are describing here follows a different movement. Embodiment is the act of returning, repeatedly and deliberately, to what you have already recognized as true, until it becomes the most familiar place within your system. It is similar to the experience of returning home after spending time in unfamiliar environments. At first, there may be a subtle adjustment period. The space may feel slightly distant, even though you know it belongs to you. However, as you move through it, as you sit in it, as you engage with it, the sense of familiarity reestablishes itself. The body relaxes, the nervous system settles, and what initially required attentiveness becomes natural again. This is the movement we are working with here, except that the home is not a physical location, but an internal state. This is how you begin to relate to your chosen identity internally, not as something you visit occasionally, but as the place you naturally return to, like coming home to yourself. From the perspective of your explorer suit, this process is not conceptual. Your brain and nervous system are shaped not by intellectual understanding, but by repetition, familiarity, and perceived certainty. What you return to consistently is what your system begins to treat as real. What feels real becomes expected, and what is expected becomes automatically selected, reinforced, and eventually expressed through your behavior and perception. The task is not to measure whether your outer reality has changed. The external world reflects previous patterns still playing themselves out. Reality stabilizes within your internal system first. Only then does the outer world begin to mirror it. There is a natural adjustment period in which the new identity you have chosen may feel unfamiliar, sometimes even artificial. Your system has been organized around a different set of instructions for a long time. The neural pathways, the emotional responses, and automatic behaviors have all been calibrated to support that previous identity. When you introduce a new one, the system does not reject it, but it does require consistent exposure to reorganize itself around it. This is like a kind of internal calibration. Each time you reconnect with the chosen identity, each time you think, feel, and respond from that place, you are feeding new instructions into the system. At first, this requires attentiveness. Old thoughts and familiar reactions may try to pull your attention back. Yet at that moment, a choice becomes available. You can follow the old reference or return to what you have already chosen as true. This return is a simple recognition. This is no longer who I am. With each return, your system receives the same instruction again. Over time, what begins as conscious practice becomes a felt reality, and eventually a quiet conviction. This process unfolds on an internal timeline that cannot be measured externally. It depends on how consistently you remain with what you have chosen, and how deeply you keep on reinforcing it within your system. There is, however, a clear internal indicator when this stabilization occurs. Your mind becomes calm, and you become solid in the knowing that you are already expressing what you have defined yourself to be. It is a conviction so deeply held that it no longer requires constant reinforcement. And it is not only mental, it becomes cellular knowing. Your choice becomes imprinted into the body, and your system stops questioning it. You are not doing this to see if it works. You are not stepping into a new identity temporarily to test whether the external world will confirm it. That approach would keep your system anchored in doubt, in the old reference point, consistently measuring, checking for evidence, and thus reinforcing the absence of what you desire. Instead, you remain loyal to what you have chosen. You hold it as true, not because you see it yet, but because you have recognized it. You allow the feeling of the fulfilled state to remain active within your awareness. There may be moments when the external world seems to contradict this. Familiar environments, other people's expectations, or previous patterns may attempt to re-establish themselves. In those moments, you simply recognize that what you are seeing is not reality itself, but a reflection of what has already been. Your reality is the state you hold within, and your task is to make that state stable. This requires willingness and commitment, a steady choice to remain aligned with what you have recognized as true until it no longer feels new but simply feels like you. This is what transforms you from someone who waits into someone who creates. Once this level of embodiment is present, external circumstances lose their ability to destabilize you, and the outer world gradually begins to mirror the inner state. This is the movement of self-expression, when the invisible becomes visible.